what the
redo the
Bitcoin
intro.
happening is.
I was having technical difficulties, but
2000.
hi. Yeah, Patrick. Did you guys not introduce yourself yet?
210,000
Oh,
blocks.
No,
right?
just kind of
Yeah.
been having a
So
little
every
combo.
200,
I'm Jerome from
210,000
Bits and
blocks,
Tokens.
the blockchain happening happens, and that's when the mining
And
reward
I'm Patrick
for mining blockchain
from
gets
Tim
cut in
House Drone
half. So
and Glockwork
really cool
Records.
party we had yesterday.
Hi guys, I'm Annalise,
we just talk
also
about how
from Bits and
awesome that
Tokens
whole
and
Bitcoin Defense
Blockchain
animated show
Universe.
is.
Jerome's
It's
also
freaking
Blockchain
sweet.
Universe,
Adult
and so is
Swim was on
Brian.
the cusp
You
of-
watched it?
We're
Yeah, I watch it all the time, man. The latest
basically a
episode is
group
pretty
here.
cool.
We just have common
But you know,
ideas,
Adult
common
Swim
topics
was
that
on
we
the
like to
cusp
talk about.
of picking that up.
And
I kid you
Brian
not.
just talked
No
about
way.
Yeah, they aired
Ubisoft
the-
game, Rabbids.
Yeah,
I
they
still
aired
love that
that
game as a kid.
episode
I
at
think it
like
used to
3
play back
o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
I believe it was last year.
one, maybe,
And then
two.
they just
I had a lot
decided
of
not to pick it
consoles
up,
when I was a kid.
probably
I don't
because
know,
of
I couldn't
conflicts of
compute
interest
anything,
within the
but
banking sector.
I used to like that game a
but,
lot.
yeah,
So I'm kind of
things happen.
excited for that, and I like that the proceeds are technically going to
Okay,
charity,
but Adult
even
Swim
though
is
I don't
pretty
believe
known
in
to be
charity.
out
because
there. I mean, I'm
they
sure you've
tend to
watched
misallocate
some of their
but-
content.
and for the kids.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's
But
not
anyways,
about
what was that?
being
There was
out there.
what was the next game you're going to talk
Definitely,
about?
okay, the
I read
people that
the
finance
little
Adult Swim
dialogue
are
that you had
probably
showing. There was a
not
few
about
interesting
the whole
games. One of them
cryptocurrency
reminded me of
movement, let's be
Farmville.
real here. I mean,
Yes, that
just,
was
the way
Crop
that the
Bites.
creator
They're going to
put
be
it,
coming out
whenever
with
he
a
was talking
3D
about it with
model
that
of
Rice
the
crypto
game.
on
It's
his
been out
recent,
since
upload
2018
to YouTube.
on the Tron
And,
network for
was talking
browser
about
as well
3D
as
like
mobile.
VR
The kinds
or
of,
what?
Kick
3D. So right
So,
now it's more of
he was
like
mentioning the fact
a,
that he
you know, you have
interviewed
the
him,
flat
and,
land,
there
and then
was a
you
little
have
bit
these
of
like
a
2D images
issue
of,
Oh,
you know, like
okay,
animals,
okay,
farm, whatnot.
yeah.
On it, so it's a very,
so
you know, flat looking game right now, and then they're going to be adding actual, you know, depth
cryptocurrency characters
and,
that are
you know,
like,
like 3D
falling in love.
Right.
You got
you know,
aliens
style
coming down.
characters
You got
and
like
just
Right.
revamping the entire look of the
you
game
know,
to make it look,
that guy
you know, more fresh and not
straight
such
up
a
being
out of date
Going
style.
from
It's just like going
Farmville
over
game.
all of Silk Road. It's
Style
just
to
so
basically
controversial, man.
goat
It puts a
simulator,
lot of
like
people
you
on the
are, like
spot.
you can, you know, you're the
There's
farmer
a
simulator
ton-
kind of thing.
like,
A little bit. It's still
Yeah.
top
It's pretty
down,
cool,
but
like,
it's a lot
But,
more.
hey, you want to talk about
You
how
know, like
crypto
Farmville
traders
is
are
currently
actually
with, you know, actual
begging
depth
for
to the
more dollar integration,
you know,
as,
objects and
the
whatnot. But I know there's still a lot of
supply
people that are
hits
really into
10
those kind of
billion.
games, and there's quite a bit of profit
could
to
talk
be
about
made
it,
if you
but
can,
I
you
see
know, harvest
Cosmo
enough
has been, like, raising
resources,
his
get
hand
enough
a million
animals
times,
made,
and I was
you know, bring them
wondering
together and
what
sell them
Cosmo
off.
So tell me
Um,
more about that Blankos
Can
game. That got
add
my
in real
attention.
quick. Let me see here.
Yeah, that is one. I know we have a question here if you want to take that real quick, just so we don't skip people.
Can you
I
talk,
don't have
Cosmo?
direct access to
did you have-
unmuting, so if one of you...
Hey.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can.
we
What's
can
up?
hear you.
Let me clear.
Did you still have? Did you have something to say, or were you just raising your hand? I wasn't sure.
Sure.
So, I kind of understand blockchain as a
Noth-
way of
Your hands are just moving.
overall priority or precedence of finding things, right? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
consensus.
Cosmo, we're gonna go back to the podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
all right. So we're
the
Patrick.
model
Sorry.
you're talking about that
Well,
a developer
I was
creates
going to talk
something,
about how JP
that
Morgan
then
is
put
pretty
out
much
there
going
and
to
other people
finance the
use it
space
and
the
revenue
traditional,
comes
you know,
along the sort
banking
of stream,
format.
or is the model you're talking about that players?
Well, the revenue.
Absurd amounts of liquidity.
So is it, the other model I
That's
can
about
see is
it,
that
really.
players can somehow
It's
create
an article that you mentioned, so
a sense
I thought
of
you read
priority.
it through and you
One
may
of the
have
things I
wanted
see
to
in the gaming
elaborate.
world when my son plays a lot is that kind of be the first.
Sorry,
to do
I
something
was
is
muted. I was
really
sitting here
acknowledge
talking
it.
and I was muted. My bad, guys.
Yeah.
But
So,
basically, here's my
completely
thing. I feel
agree.
like
How you can
there's
use
going to be a split.
So
on-
I
on that
understand,
because,
and you
know,
can
a lot of
actually
community
use it
is-
for
is
both. But those
full
are
of,
two
quote-unquote,
purposes
you're
that can serve on the
anarchists and they
blockchain.
want freedom from the banks
Kids
and
these days they
here
buy
we
a
are
lot of like
moving to
add-ons, like
now
skins, and they spend a
JP
lot of
Morgan
money
is
on
thinking
all this
of,
extra stuff.
backing these exchanges.
With the blockchain,
But I
companies
think
are
it's
trying to
positive
create
because
intergame operability.
because we
So
need to
like if I
understand that
wanted
there's
to
certain
buy a
systems
skin
that
for one game, I
may
can
not
change
go
it to
away
another
for a
game. Or
long
if I
time.
wanted to resell that skin to someone else, I can make my money back.
Pushing the
Right? So if you were the first person to, let's say,
appeal
shoot
to,
down
like, more people and
a
having
player in the
something like
game,
this,
at that point in
Could
time,
be
you
positive.
could probably make a profit
So
from selling
I
a
feel
certain
like
gun
this is
or a certain
huge news.
skin. You know,
I'm
somebody
happy for
who
that.
has
Yeah.
you
I know
know,
that
paid a
JP
lot of
Morgan
money
tried to do the
to
JP
buy
Morgan coin, and that's
Pee-wee's
kind of like
gun
you
or
know,
skin. You know, he's a very
XRP Ripple
big YouTuber.
you set on
And then same way,
right?
and then
that's
same way
you know
you
that was
can
a
use
ha
it
ha.
streamlining
crazy
in
about
for
that.
the developers. The developers
saying,
can
hey,
develop
you know
on the
what, we're gonna make
blockchain
it
to make
easier
these things, you know,
so that
possible.
your
They
link
can
doesn't get
develop
declined
on the
for,
blockchain,
you know,
so
buying
everything is like
cryptocurrency
recorded.
and
There's no,
exchange.
you
That
know,
was a huge problem.
fraudulent or
Banks got declined, and we were
that
actually
end
making
up
fun of that at the
circulating
party
if
yesterday.
that becomes a market.
In honor of having
Payment
it, we went in and we
systems.
bought
There's a
some
lot of
Bitcoin. Everyone was
usages
on
for
the market
blockchain in the
about Bitcoin,
gaming space.
and like
There's
people's
many.
banks were declining the transactions. That was like
Okay,
a
so
ha ha.
think of like you made a
I know,
lot
I
of
feel
valid
like
points,
this is a
but
positive thing for us.
there's also a way for people to use blockchain to acquire the games as well. So I'm not for sure if you're aware of this, but there's a company operated. Yeah, but there's a company called Robot Cash. You know, they're fairly new. I believe they're co-signed by AMD, where people can mine for a currency called Iron, and Iron is on the blockchain. It's backed by proof of work, and pretty much you pay for video games with Iron, and you can get like Darksiders 3. You can get you know, a bunch of other indie titles, tons of THQ titles. There are a lot of game studios that are working in tandem. So yeah.
Hey, what's up?
There's a few, and we've
Brian, you
seen
forgot
that,
to mute, bro.
Other
Oh,
conversation
sorry, I shouldn't
platforms such
be
as
muted.
WhatsApp. They also have, you know,
realize
that. No,
blockchain
you're not.
integration platform where you can
It's
send
okay.
cryptocurrency and have the transactions. I was not crazy about the integrations in the first place.
Mhm.
For me, the use case, I get it, but it wasn't something that I was actively using. I didn't really care for those methods of, you know, blockchain technology. As long as the messages for me, these are just chatting. platforms, so as long
If
as
you
messages are
mine, you mean
encrypted,
like generating,
and
like
I'm
you mean
not,
like
you
if
know,
you mine and you receive a reward,
getting
like the
super
reward
annoyed
from
with
mining, is that what you're
their,
talking
you know,
about?
layout of read messages or receiving messages, and it's convenient. Like, I don't really care for any other add-ons.
That's
So
fine.
I just didn't care for it.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
thing with
about years
WhatsApp.
with it.
Same sentiment. I
So
don't know about
it's
you
just-
guys. You guys feel the same about this?
This is a version of it as currency.
Honestly,
right? Yes?
I mean,
Yes,
not
you could
necessarily
use.
wouldn't
You can use.
applications that integrate
You
with
can
blockchain.
implement
Coin.
cryptocurrency
Kinda
on the
like
blockchain.
something that
Yeah.
is
Like,
almost
right.
a
What I
little
don't understand
unnecessary.
about this is
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. I agree.
But you know,
So
with
most
Telegram
currencies are
facing heat from the
denominated by
SEC,
something.
Kicks
The old days
facing
it was
heat
the
from the
gold
SEC,
standard, right? Yeah?
and all these sorts
Right.
of ICO
Pretty
greed
ugly
rolls
debates
from
about
these
what
mega,
denominate currencies
you
now,
know, companies
right?
Mhm.
that have a data
What
monopoly.
denominates
I
this
think it's sort of
currency
like
that I
a.
can buy games with?
No,
It's called proof of work. It's a consensus algorithm.
like it's funny.
It's everybody crunches math through gold
You think it's funny?
computations because gold can vibrate light
it
fluidly,
just highlights people's,
and
like,
it
greed.
powers all
Whenever there's,
electronics,
like,
and
a
it's
massive run up
a gold that provides this consensus algorithm.
trend just because they can profiteer. I
I
think
don't
it's
Yeah,
kind of
it-
understand
that's
that.
just my
You've
perspective.
moved from being
Um,
quite rational to something I
What about you,
Yeah,
Jerome?
so-
Yeah, I don't know.
for instance,
So if I was to dumb it down, hold on, because you're getting into like the back end of it. So if
I-
I was to like
Mhm.
simplify it, the value of some currencies,
Yeah, I do
they
that all the
go
time. I was just
based
saying
off
that the fakers
protocols
are
and
going
they
to come
go
out,
off
and
based
that's
off
just
people's
what's going
trust.
to happen
Kind
in a
of
lot of
like
these companies.
our
That's why they fail
currencies today.
because
You
they
know,
end up
it's
not
necessarily
having,
you know.
you know,
I don't
appropriate
agree.
an appropriate
Okay.
structure behind it. But it's fine.
So
Okay,
that-
go ahead.
Jerome, you're saying?
Discussion. So the honest
I was saying
truth
that
is,
I think
Right,
it's funny, yeah, as well.
Mhm.
Telegram,
American military might.
they can
Military,
make their own
right.
decisions, man. I care not. Honestly, it doesn't bother me at all.
Which is, if you screw
I'm
us over too
really
much, we have a big
Looking
military
at now
economy,
what's going on with
right?
like
And
Lightning,
Mhm.
working on
That's true
messaging
about
platforms,
currencies as well.
building
Right.
messaging into the protocol, which
This is what
I
don't
thought that
understand.
was
How
pretty
you
interesting.
can-
So
So if
that's
I
something
use
I'll be
some-
talking
if I
about next
get my
week, most
computer
likely.
running my
But
Bitcoin,
beyond
or-
that,
well,
I
things
learned,
you said
I heard
right
about
in
that
there,
this
right?
weekend
Yeah,
actually
I-
at
yeah.
Udi's VR
After I've done
event,
it,
which
the
was
work
on
is
Sunday.
lost. The entity
Reckless
has gone.
VR did
Right,
a
I've dissipated
meetup.
No, it's not. No, it's forever stored. It's forever
It's forever stored on the blockchain.
in Ledger.
Different
I'm
speakers,
using the
um,
word work
just
in
a bunch of
third
different
Uh-huh.
conversations and
sense,
really
Right?
interesting
Okay, okay.
time.
has gone.
after that, I started looking into a little bit of what they were talking about and like what you can do with Lightning Labs and with.
I will
I
say,
disagree with you on
so I
that
have
one.
two takes on this. Hold on, wait. I have two takes on
Are
this.
allowing
One,
really small
each
microtransactions,
currency,
and with that,
each
microtransactions,
currency
it doesn't have to just be
has
money,
its
you know, we're talking
own
about
backing.
cryptocurrency,
I get what you
Bitcoin,
where you're going with the backing. Bitcoin specifically is based on trust and the trust of the community, which then usage and through market and all that, it increases the value of the price. There's other currency that go based off proof of stake, proof of work. They have different protocols that then
the conversation on the same platform and not have.
No, the work is forever stored in the blockchain. That's why blockchains become heavier as time goes on.
What happens is you, as a worker, gets incentivized with the currency.
Messages evolve over time.
Right?
Totally.
I still think back to when I first started text messaging, and now it's just like, wow, it's so much more convoluted than if I were to tell myself when I first got a phone and first started text messaging what messaging would be like in the future, I would have never imagined bouncing between all of
I
them.
So the
disagree
only
with you on that because
usefulness
of the fact
of the work
Conversation is
after
different
you
people
use
and
it
different
is to verify.
You know, I think-
So
Exactly.
when all this information, you're putting it on essentially a node.
Why would a
to
rational
the way
person give you
humans
gold
are literally just
the
choosing
evidence
between
that you have done
platforms to
that
use, regardless of
Because it
You're
validates it.
basically
You're not
pushing
understanding
it,
the
'cause
validation
you're the mind-
process.
what just worked best for them and
No,
where
but hang
their
on,
friends
hang on.
really
It
are.
doesn't
That's one of the reasons why when the federal government found out that Facebook was going to be
You're
launching
getting
cryptocurrency,
incentivized with what you're getting.
Think about it, because
Essentially,
they have
like you will
the
be
largest messaging platform,
incentivized.
the most
You're
users.
presuming
Mhm.
the person
It's
give
a
you the
way
gold,
for
right?
them
But let's have a
to
thought
pretty
experiment.
much
I've got a big
integrate,
handful of gold here, right?
be a
Okay, yeah?
one-stop shop,
And you
integrate
come up to me
currency
and say,
that's
I ran round
working
that
inside its own
field 20
ecosystem for
times,
smart
give me some of
contracts,
the gold.
and also
Right?
disrupt
You're joking.
the
Get
central
out of
banks
here.
around the globe.
Right?
Now that that's
That's
changed,
an
No,
Right, but that's the
No, but this
purpose
is-
of the contracts.
aren't really so worried about it.
Wait, excuse me,
Right,
gentlemen.
but
So, yeah, we'll see.
Sorry,
May
go
I
ahead, Patrick.
interject, Annalise? So here's
Yeah,
the
go
thing.
ahead.
He makes some really good points. He makes some really good points, actually. The idea of, I actually did the work to run around and do the laps. I had my lap times and everything, and I'm an Olympic athlete, and I deserve my pay because I made this place. And some people don't.
Yeah,
But some,
so
no,
I
but
heard
I'm
you
just
talking
putting it
about that.
in
I
a
heard
hypothetical
Blake Hill kind of
aspect because some
mentioning
people
it,
do
because they were
earn
getting
money.
in
Some
trouble
people
for
do
spreading
earn.
fake news,
Well, in the past, it
as
used
we
to
all
get gold
know.
medals, but now it's not actual
I
real
think
gold
YouTube was doing
medals.
something very
But
similar when they
in
cranked up the
retrospect-
algorithm, so it's not.
They don't earn money.
I think it's
No, it's not
Yes, but
informal
the
entertainment.
entertainment
It's a
goes
complete
into
competitive.
the transactions that get verified. So
It's verification. It's verification of their skill. It's not just entertainment. It's their training, and
Okay.
No,
it's not. What? How entertainment?
There's no more
Mhm.
skillful.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, but we're gonna quickly put that on pause. So, if you guys want to continue that aspect, so this is on the blockchain. We're not talking about
Yeah,
real
because
life.
this
We're
is
talking
becoming
about a digital, created from nothing currency. So this isn't using your regular rationale, right? So,
Well, here's the thing. I'd say, Brian, that it is created from something. It's created from kilowatt per hour energy. It's also created from consensus algorithms backed by hard math and science compared
Thank
to somebody
you.
trading it against, let's say, for instance, something that was printed up off of a press from a government facility, not even a government facility, a private institution. So,
yes, okay,
yeah.
at that point,
It-
thank you. If you have any other questions, please look up blockchain and Bitcoin online and do your own research. That's the main thing we tell everybody. Do your own research. If you don't believe in it and you don't trust it, which many people do not, a lot of people still call Bitcoin a scam, don't invest in it. Okay, he left. He wanted to make an argument. I wanted to end it right there because I was wasting too much time.
It
Let's move
was.
on.
Let's move on, shall we?
It was a good combo, though. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so speaking of which, when it comes to pushing forward this technology, yeah, PayPal. I will come back to the games, Brian, but PayPal, Patrick, you were talking about it just the other day, and I think Venmo as well. They're rolling out purchase and selling capabilities, just like Cash App. Square Cash App, Jack Dorsey, he has had that implemented into the system a long time now. It's been almost a year
2
or
years.
more that he's. 2 years has it? Wow, time flies. But We'll get to your question in just a second, but I think that's super interesting. PayPal and Venmo, they're a little late to the game because they essentially do the very exact same thing that Cash App has the capability of doing. But I feel like everybody's trying to get into the investment space. We saw Robinhood came out, and we saw like other investment platforms like Stash and Acorns, and then now we have Cash App, and then now Venmo and PayPal are trying to get on that trend. And so I'm seeing more payment systems, and that originally sprouted, ironically enough, after the concept of Bitcoins. Zelle and all these other payment systems that you use now today from your banks did not exist before Bitcoin. They existed after, because we realized that our way of transferring money was slow, it was inefficient. So of course banks came up with a way to speed up that process. Patrick, you want to talk about that a little more?
Absolutely. I think it's really an omen. I think PayPal actually had the idea of doing something like crypto a long time ago, actually, when it was first come into existence, when Elon Musk was working in the company. And I think this is a great thing that's going to bring in a lot of volume to the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ecosystem, and maybe even some institutional money. I'm looking forward to utilizing this form of ledger within my PayPal account. I'm not for sure about you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. Let me get to your question. You can go ahead. UCF, John Jones.
It's me.
Hey.
I don't know where.
Let me put your volume up. Hold on. Let me amplify you because give me a second. I got you.
Right.
Where are you? Oh, here it is. Okay. Megaphone. Go for it.
Okay. I came in just now, so I don't know where you are in the conversation or anything like that. I just got a question. I'm all for Bitcoin and all that. I like Bitcoin, even though I don't have any, which I kicked myself because I should have bought it when it was like $8 a share. And then I kicked myself when it was at 10,000. And I don't know what it's up at now. Was it 10,000, somewhere around there, 6 and 10,000? I don't know.
Pretty close, yeah.
Right. And then went up to 20,000, right? And then, I don't know. Anyway, my question
back in 2017, yeah.
Right. The mining part, I know it has to do the math and all that, and to get the Bitcoin and all the computers doing the math. But is it the problems it's solving? They're just random problems, aren't they? They don't actually solve anything, do they? They're just random.
There's an algorithm.
Numbers. Right, but they don't actually solve anything, do they? They're just like
they
key,
do.
Right?
It's an encryption. Yeah. Yep.
It's not easy to solve encryptions.
No, what I'm asking is that I know they're doing the math to solve a problem. I get that part, but it's not solving a problem necessarily.
Yes, it's
so
solving
the answer
a problem.
is yes and no.
Yes.
It's your answer is yes and no. Yes, it's not something that's specifically, let's say, quote unquote, important to the outside world, but it is something that's fundamental to the way that the cryptocurrency works when you mine it. It's so not only when you mine, the purpose, there's such a tedious process behind mining is so that the ecosystem is not disrupted. Technically, mining, some people say it's obsolete and could be replaced by proof of work and proof of stake and this and the third, which, I mean, if we get to the fundamentals, let's say yes. However, the reason that these things were put in place was one, at the time when Bitcoin was incepted, nobody was there to protect Bitcoin. If attackers came and overthrew Bitcoin, Bitcoin would have been a lost cause. We're taking original thought processes and moving forward with it. Can it change in the future? That's a possibility, but that was just the original way that it was implemented to prevent these attacks and these things from happening, and would eventually lead the ecosystem from falling apart and debacling, and then cryptocurrency would cease to exist. It's just one of the many uses for mining. But like I said, it's like you're right, but not quite. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
you're saying. It's not actually solving a problem, maybe environment, energy, or something like that, but it's not coming up with a math theorem or anything like that. I get it. It's like a key. The way maybe I understand it wrong, but it's like a key going into, and there's so many numbers and it has to mind the
exactly.
Point,
I would put it in the perspective of if there's a billion doors to unlock.
Right.
Each computer has its own key.
Right. And what
also,
did anybody ever figure out? I know I can't pronounce his name. God forbid. The Asian guy.
Satoshi.
20%. He owns 20% of the coins.
Has anybody figured it out? No. Craig Wright's trying to claim that that position, which he's a fraud, and the first 100 or so wallets signed some signature, first 50 of the first 100 wallets saying that he was a fraud. And now there was a paper as of February 24th of this year. His lawyers wrote out to the court stating that his wallets were stolen and his private keys were compromised. So he's making it look as if those people that came out saying they were fraudulent were false. So he's trying to win the case and be officially deemed as the man who has founded Bitcoin. However, he has nor signed a transaction saying that he is. People who are original founders, of the project are stating that he's not. Well, not founders, but early developers are saying that he's not. Other distributors, right? So it's just nobody ever found Satoshi, whether it's a person or a group, but there's a con man in the way.
There's definitely.
Thank you for your answers. They were very educational.
I say that. Do you have anything to say about the topic that we were discussing of PayPal adopting Bitcoin into their ledger?
Do I have anything to say?
Any comments?
I think the people are scared of the banks. This gets out the banks are the middle guys, and this whole thing with the Bitcoin. That's pretty much Bitcoin was kind of a way the banks were interacting with each other with computers and random generators and all that. But now we found a way to cut out the middleman, which are the banks, and that's why they're freaking out now because they were making everything off of every dollar. A lot of people don't know in America that the banks literally they don't have all the money you think they do. For every dollar by law, they're allowed to give out $10. So technically,
fractional reserve banking.
They're allowed to give out 10 million. So that's why back in 1929, when the economy collapsed in the Great Depression, 1927, I think it was, people rushed to the banks and there was no money. Even if
exactly
$100,000, even today.
Even during COVID-19, a lot of banks were running out of money. There was limits.
Yeah.
So, this is real life, you guys. Look around what's actually happening in the economy. Why are there limits? These are things that we should be questioning. Why am I not allowed to touch my own funds? These are things that everyone should be questioning. And those are all very good points.
Yep. But here's the thing. We don't actually need that function. We don't need those functions of banking anymore, if you think about it. Because really, the banks are trying to go strictly digital, and the central banks are actually going